Hey, Bulls Nation, it's your girl Queen Chill Mode coming at you with positive vibes of our Chicago Bulls. So far, with the multiple injuries that we've had this season, we've gotten off to a slow start with the 3-9 record. There's been inconsistent play on both the offensive end as well as the defensive end. One would believe that there are not many positives for the Chicago Bulls, but obviously I disagree. Um, you know, Going into this season, we certainly didn't expect the rash of injuries to occur that have occurred, but there has been some positive signs as well as some positive things that have taken place so far this season for our Chicago Bulls. So in this one, I'll spotlight those things. First off, one of those things that has actually been pretty decent for our Chicago Bulls has been our three-point shooting. We wanted to move towards a more pace and space sort of offense. So it's imperative that you have a solid three-point shooting team if it's going to be as successful. So far the Bulls are averaging 36% from three-point range in terms of their shooting percentage, and that's good for 8 in the NBA of 30 teams. So obviously that certainly is a positive. Um, we got guys like Ryan Archer Nakano, who's leading the way with shooting 50% from three-point range for the Bulls so far this season. And other players that are doing a phenomenal job with their outside shooting are players like Antonio Blakeney, who's shooting about 45%. And then there's also Justin Holiday shooting 38% from three-point range at this time. And you got Zach, I think, is at 35. Even though Wendell doesn't shoot a lot of threes, in the few that he has taken, he's shooting 38%. So we got some guys out here who are doing a pretty good job of knocking down their three-point shots. I know 36% doesn't necessarily seem like a great percentage, but again, 8 out of 30 teams, that's not bad. And just imagine, when we finally do get healthy and we get our other shooters back, such as Denzel Valentine, who actually led our team in three-point shooting percentage last season, along with Lauri Markkanen, that can only be a statistic that can go up in a positive way. Also, with the outside shooting, that will definitely continue to open up the floor for a player like Zach LaVine to continue to attack the basket even more, like he has so far this season. So, with that being said, the three-point shooting has been a very positive sign for our Chicago Bulls so far this season, and hopefully as we get healthy, it can continue to be. Now, as far as individual players, the play of Justin Holiday has certainly been a pleasant surprise as well as a good positive vibe for us to continue on. He was the source of inconsistency last season, but this year he's been a little bit more consistent and very efficient with his shooting. He's improved his field goal percentage on last year's numbers from 37% to 41% from two-point range. And as I mentioned earlier, his three-point shooting has increased from 35 to 38%. He has definitely established himself as a legitimate outside shooting threat. And hopefully he can continue to show improvement in those numbers as the season goes on. He's a guy that many thought would be traded by now, but as long as he's with us, hopefully he can continue to keep his numbers up. Now, one of the positive things or I guess one of the things that has been a positive sign to see for the Bulls with the rash of injuries has been an opportunity to develop some of our young players. Players like Ryan Archer-Nakano, Antonio Blakeney, and Chandler Hutchison. They've gotten a lot more playing time than they probably would have gotten, had we been fully healthy at this point. I mean, Antonio Blakeney, maybe even Ryan, but I'm not so sure Chandler would be in the rotation if we were fully healthy at his position. But be that as it may, Ryan Archer-Nakano, he's shown the ability to get the team in his offensive set. He's been a solid playmaker for the team, and as I mentioned before, his shooting percentage from three-point range as well as overall has been phenomenal. I mean, he's shooting 50% from the field as well. So, yeah. Now, Antonio Blakeney came into this season certainly wanting to prove that he belonged in the NBA after spending much of last year in the G League. And he has been what we expected he would be here in Bulls Nation, and that is a spark plug off the bench. He's been able to get in the game, get us some points, be consistent with it. And while he's not someone who's playing a lot of minutes, I mean, when you look at it, he plays about 17 minutes a game. He's averaging about 11 points in that short amount of time that he does get an opportunity to play. So I believe Antonio will probably still be able to be in the rotation when we do finally get fully healthy, where everybody's back, because he just provides too much of an offensive spark off the bench for us, and the fact that we can have points and times over the course of a game where we struggle to score, having a guy like him on the team who can come in at the drop of a hat and just literally take off the warm-ups and just get right in the game and start scoring is certainly an added plus. So hopefully, he'll continue to play at this pace, and hopefully, as he continues to improve and get better, he'll actually get more minutes. I mean, could you imagine what he would do if he played more than 17 minutes? And another positive sign, of course, has been Chandler Hutchins. Actually had an opportunity to get some starts in here and there so far this season. Um, he hasn't put up a lot. He hasn't put up big numbers in his rookie season, but he has provided positive minutes for the Bulls, in which he's played solid defense, has been very good in transition play, and has provided other intangibles that don't necessarily show up on the box scores, but definitely help your team get better and hopefully get some wins along the way. But he's pretty much averaging about 4 points a game, three rebounds, and he's shooting pretty good at 47%. With that being said, I think that with the injuries that we have had, establishing and developing a bench is going to be key, because when we get to that point where we're starting to win, most teams that are good in the NBA typically have a solid bench and good depth. Teams like Boston, Toronto, are perfect examples. Now, none of us are actually surprised that Wendell is starting to really play like we expected him to play. Now, he did get off to a slow start. I mean, in his NBA career, after all, he did end up starting his first 3 games playing against 3 All-Star centers. But since that time, he has demonstrated his potential and the upside that he has to become an all-around impact player. He's taken full advantage of the extra attention that teams are giving Zach LaVine when they double team him, and he's definitely become a more consistent threat to score, utilizing an array of skills that he possesses, such as scoring on the low block, his mid-range jumper, lobs off of alley-oops from his teammates. Over the last few games, he's actually put up solid numbers, as he's averaged about 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. And his outside shooting has been pretty decent at 46%. As I mentioned before, 38% from three-point range, and pretty solid on the free throw line at 80%. But of course, his biggest impact that has been felt on the defensive end. He's done a phenomenal job of being able to help out his teammates and recover and get back on his man. He's done a phenomenal job of protecting the rim, and there's been nights where he's guarded the opposing team's best player. So, the impact that he's starting to have on the team, both offensively and defensively, is certainly a positive sign. And so hopefully, when we get Marketing back, we get Bobby Portis back, and he's in the game with either or of those players, he can continue to show the potential that he has, as well as continue to make the impact that he's making now. And last but not least, Zach LaVine. Now, going into this season, many Bulls fans were kind of split regarding, the Bulls matching the offer that the Sacramento Kings put out there. Many people was like he didn't deserve that, but he's proving a lot of people wrong so far. His offensive brilliance has been on display since the start of preseason, and he's pretty much carried that over to the regular season. It's actually not only is he looking like an all-star player, he's pretty much trying to set himself up to be a franchise player, and that's fine with me. He's performed. His performance has been brilliant, nothing short of brilliance. He's pretty much been a lot more consistent this year. Of course, last year he was coming back from an injury, so we give him that. But he's been very efficient with his shooting as well. He's shooting like 47% from the field, 35% from three-point range, and 85% from the free throw line. His complete offensive repertoire has been on full display. I mean, attacking the rim, scoring out of ISOs, getting to the basket, scoring off the dribble, running the fast break as well as finishing on the fast break. And he's had moments where he's looked pretty good defensively, believe it or not. So this has definitely been a positive for our Chicago Bulls because it's establishing him as a go-to guy and possibly franchise player to go along with Lauri Markkanen. That can only bode well for our future as an organization. He has been a sight to behold, and it's been fun to see. But what all the things that are happening right now with the team in terms of pretty much shooting pretty good three-point shooting, all of this is going to help the Bulls as we go forward in the future. Zach LaVine's performance, Wendell Carter Jr., the bench players, even Ryan, doing his thing. All of that's only going to help our team get better because these guys would have gained confidence and gained experience that they probably otherwise wouldn't have had. So just like the sun is rising, so too will our Bulls. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day, night, or wherever you are across this world watching to check the channel out. As always, good night and God bless. Deuces.